What up, what up, what up? This is RJ Fantasy Football Talk. We back again. You know who it is. I'm Rodney. It's JJ. What's going on?
Hey, nothing much. Hey, we deep in the playoff fantasy football action time. So, how's it
Yes.
looking on your end?
Oh, it looks bad.
Looks
I,
bad.
I, I, it looks bad. I lost all three
Oh,
first round playoffs that I had this week. It's okay. It's been a tough year. So, I'm going to just regroup, come back next year, try to do better.
right.
I can't, hey, what can I do about it?
Hey, hey, it's not how you whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game. So
So,
we can
it's all good.
losers can tell themselves that. So,
They
hey,
can.
but
But
we'll
look,
get into we're talking playoff heroes and zeros, so we can get into why you're out. I know for one, I lost. I was in two playoff games last week. One
hmm
won, won the other, and the other league, a third league I'm in, their playoffs doesn't start until this week. And
okay.
I got in at the very end. I'm the fourth seed in that one, so I'll be in two playoff matches this week, and I'm the underdog, I think, in both of them. So it's going to
Well,
be crazy to see how
a-
this goes. But
anything can happen.
hey,
People,
you never know.
we like you said, we got some heroes, and I call it the part of the show around this year is called playoff heroes and playoff non-heroes. So we're gonna just see how that works out. It's a couple guys that people didn't expect to do a lot of work. So definitely, I mean, we just gonna see. I lost to a guy that he outplayed me. Oh, it,
Yeah.
it, it was bad. So
Hey, one of the ones I lost, we'll get into because we got heroes and or zeros, if you will.
yeah.
And one of my guys I'm going to talk about, I don't even want to think about it right now, but hey, he got benched, and I know he didn't just hurt me. And I lost by less than two, like 1.2 points is less than 2 points separated
I
me
mean, but
from winning. And
it was
it's
weird
what it
though. If
is.
you looked at last week,
Yeah,
all the quarterback numbers were down, aside for like
yeah,
maybe four quarterbacks. Everybody else, well, pretty much, it wasn't great. Wasn't great quarterback play last week, especially for some big name quarterbacks. You didn't see too
yeah,
much of that.
yeah,
So, it's just honestly, it was a bad week, I guess, for playoffs
yeah.
if you have certain people. But you know how it is. But you know how we start though. We're gonna start off with the guys that did well last week, and we can go ahead and jump into it with the impact players. We're gonna start with the quarterbacks, obviously. The
Right.
first quarterback, Pat Mahomes. He had a tough matchup
Yeah.
against Miami. That ended up being a really good game, honestly. But he was 24, 34, 393, two touchdowns. He did have three picks, but it don't matter if you win the game. So he did well. Shockingly, this guy's on my list, and we'll talk about him some more later. Baker Mayfield. Um,
Yeah.
28, 47, 343, two touchdowns. He actually lost me. He actually made me lose my playoff
Oh,
game, so I have issues with him. So,
I can
um,
understand
y-
that.
your boy Derek Carr, 31 to 45, 316, two touchdowns. In a losing cause,
I
by
want
the
to say,
way.
did
He
they
did
win? No.
no in a losing cause,
Right.
but he did have like a pick that was really bad. So
Yeah.
it was bad. Drew Lock had a good game. Even though I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't have Drew Lock starting last week, so unless he was in two quarterback leagues. But 21 and 27, 280 and four touchdowns. And I'm gonna throw a special shout out to Tua, even though they lost. He came in. Well, he's been starting, but 28 to 48, two touchdowns, 316 yards. Good matchup between him and Pat Mahomes last week. So can he keep it up? Is the question.
Right.
Um, I want to shout out Jalen Hurts, but I don't want to shout out him as a quarterback. So, if that makes sense, you get when I get there, you'll figure out what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. So, yeah, that's who I got. Who you got?
I got those, many of those exact same guys. Aaron Rodgers, of course, putting up
Yeah,
three touchdowns and rushing for a fourth one, 290 yards. I'm, I'm going to step on your toes a little bit, not with Jalen Hurts, but with another guy who was even more of a running back, and that's Lamar Jackson. We all saw him miraculously come out the tunnel at the end of the game to beat the Cleveland. I called Cleveland winning that game, so I was rooting against them hard coming out of that. But he came out, threw a touchdown to give them the win, but it wasn't much of his arm. He had 162 yards passing, but he really had his thing that really made him pop was the 124 rushing yards he had. He had 2 rushing touchdowns and only 1 passing touchdown. So he won some people some fantasy football games in their playoffs, I'm sure. But, like you said, more running back than quarterback. But we'll talk about him a lot more later as well. So that's all I have for the quarterbacks.
Well, I'm going to go to the running backs. Derrick Henry seemed like he's been making this list. He always make this list, though.
This is time of year.
Yeah, definitely. 26 carries, 215, 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers. We're going to talk more about him later. 29 carries, 171. But we talked about this last week about the young guys finally kind of taking over, especially in those committee running backs. They finally starting to kind of, where they were drafted at, they starting to take over and become that number 1 running back. So definitely. Jonathan Taylor's another one. 20 carries, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's his backfield. I mean, it belonged to him. Can't nobody else get it. And then, obviously, Lamar Jackson. 9 carries, 124, 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders came out, 14 carries, 2 touchdowns, 115 yards. Jalen Hurts, 18. He had 18 carries.
Right.
He had more carries than Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
18 carries and 106 yards. So I don't understand how they plan on using him as more of a quarterback, a running quarterback, a passing quarterback. If you're giving him 18 rushes, there got to be some type of design play to get 18 rushes. Yeah. You're not just dropping back and rushing and getting the people, the D-line coming in, and you running the ball 18 times. Yeah. It's the design run plays for 18 carries.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we only have one data point to go off right now last week. But look, from that one data point, Lamar Jackson is the perfect analogy. We're going to see a lot more leg from him than probably arm. But, hey, we'll see how it goes.
I mean, that's crazy to me, though. Like, he had more carries than the starting running back.
Yep.
I mean...
But think of 2 other guys, not just Lamar Jackson, but Josh Allen. We always talk about these are guys that lead their teams in rushing touchdowns, whatever. And the running backs kind of, there for a little finesse play here or there. Like, we can still run the ball with a running back, but it's not there. It's a weird way of doing it, especially for fantasy. If you're in a fantasy league that rewards yards. As much as, some of the leagues we play in, these aren't guys that are going to be stars there. But in a standard league or a league that's not as friendly, if you will, for passing yards, you can still win some playoff games with these guys.
I find it funny, though. Yeah. If you think back, maybe, just say 10 years, because we've both been playing fantasy well over 10 years, easy. And to think about a quarterback running the ball like this,
as much as
it was unheard of. I mean, the only quarterback that was like that one of the greatest is Michael Vick.
Yeah.
He was the only one that was running around like that at that time. But now you got Taysom Hill, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Lamar Jackson. Is that the direction teams are going to go from now on? Or you still think that pocket quarterback still going to be valuable?
I still think it's going to be valuable. That's why people are still going after those types of quarterbacks. But the truth is, the pros are going to take what college throws at them. And right now, in a lot of colleges, they want an athlete as quarterback. And it kind of reminds you, what you look at in high school. They're like, hey, the most talented guy you put at the quarterback position, and if he can throw, that's great. But hey, if he can beat you with your legs, even better. So you see to
Exactly.
go from high school to college, and now I think it's just a natural progression that we're seeing that a lot more in the pros, like you said. Because when Michael Vick did it, it was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
unbelievable that someone's. Why are you running the ball this much? You have to be that behind. He's not going to be much of an asset to a team until he learns to be that pocket guy. And now people are just throwing that whole rule book out the window. It's like, hey, whatever wins games. So,
Yeah, I mean, because they tried to RG3 and not RG3's first year,
yeah,
he won Rookie of the Year based off
yeah.
running, because he had good
Until he
passing
got
numbers,
broke up
but
in the
until he
playoffs.
got broke up,
Yeah,
but he had good passing numbers, and he had really good running numbers,
yeah,
and that won him Rookie of the Year.
yeah.
So I think his direction. Now the thing is that those guys are still, which we're gonna talk about later with Lamar Jackson. Those guys are still gonna have to learn how to pass the ball.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You cannot win. I don't think that's sustainable, honestly.
Right.
Trying to in real life
Hey,
football.
we've seen it work in the regular season. We've seen it work to certain degrees in the playoffs. We haven't seen it win a Super Bowl yet.
No,
So,
I have not seen them win the Super Bowl yet.
right.
I mean, it got close.
Yeah, it got
Don't get me
close.
wrong, but close don't count. That's only a horseshoe.
Only in
So,
exactly.
so we don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we gonna jump to the wide receivers.
No, we are not.
Why not?
Because I didn't say any running backs, and I'm gonna give some credit to my guy I talked about last week. His name is David Montgomery of the Chicago Bears. 113 yards rushing, 42 yards receiving, a touchdown, Mr. Everything. He and like we said last week, David Montgomery, Allen Robinson are going to win somebody some playoff games and maybe even a championship because they are the entire offense for the Chicago Bears. So,
hold up, one more. Trubisky. Trubisky made. If you
no,
had
hey, you can't. So we're talking running backs. You're supposed to say
no,
they're
I'm just saying.
quarterbacks.
I just want to throw it out there.
All right.
Trubisky might have. If you had him in the lineup,
I'm mad at you though because I agree with you 100%. And when we got to the playoff heroes and zeros, I thought I was going to shake you up with that one. I was going to throw out Mitch Trubisky, and you're going to be like, "What?" And then I'm going to tell you all the facts. So I'm right with you. That's what we do.
yeah, we'll agree on a lot.
I can't sneak a lot by you.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Trubisky won a lot of people some games last week.
If
I
you
don't
played
know
him.
if they started him. If you played him.
If you played him, yes.
Chicago shocked a lot of people last week.
Yes, they did.
Allen Robinson, Montgomery, and Trubisky won. Now I don't know what they're gonna do this week, but they definitely won some games for some people last week. So
I'm gonna tell you like this: I'm still gonna save it, but save that Trubisky thing because I'm playing Trubisky if I had him because his matchups. Whew.
Hey, look.
Hey,
look. I'm gonna tell you like this, and we gonna have to. I just want to go to something slightly real quick.
Okay, go for it.
I'm hearing some rumblings out there in the world of the NFL that they're gonna get rid of him and he's gonna end up in Santa Clara.
I hope they do get rid of him, because quite frankly, if Nagy is in love with Nick Foles that much, Trubisky can go elsewhere and be better. I think I always talk about Trubisky, and I can't shake my love for him. He hasn't shown me much, but I just believe beneath all those horrible decisions and interceptions and everything else he does wrong, there's a stellar quarterback down there, and we're seeing a little bit of it. So I'm
telling you, I read a rumor today.
I'm a Trubisky fanboy, so if he's in a team like that, I'm going for it next year.
I'm hearing rumblings. I've been hearing the rumblings. My ear to the street in San Francisco land.
Okay.
I'm hearing Trubisky. they saying Trubisky could be there, and I would take Trubisky right now. I would say that's more of an upgrade. That's just my little 2 cents on Trubisky, but that would be great. But Trubisky definitely. I'll take Allen Robinson too, by the way. But that's just me.
I know, right?
So, honestly, but yeah. I mean, who else you got?
Oh, that's it. I just wanted to make sure I threw out David Montgomery's name. You can say Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb because they both had really good games for Cleveland as well. So you can throw them out there. But, yeah, I like the ones you said better. And, of course, my guy, David Montgomery.
Hey, Montgomery,
I'm big.
Okay. Well, now we're going to go to receivers.
Now we can do wide receivers. Let's go for it.
Hopkins. 9 receptions, 136 yards. Diggs, Look, man, I just want to first say
Stephon
I
Diggs.
apologize. I was
We were
wrong
wrong.
about
We
Diggs.
were both wrong on
I
Stephon
was wrong.
Diggs.
I always thought Diggs just ran like a straight go, and he couldn't do anything else.
Right.
But Diggs has proved me wrong all year long. He
Right.
actually runs routes, so I'm not mad at him. And his separation, whatever he do, is amazing. So
It's working.
10 receptions, 130 yards, a touchdown. I mean, he's balling out. You can't be mad at him. Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley is the future. I think next year, and you've been saying this the whole season, Calvin Ridley is going to be the number one receiver, if not this year.
Hey, the way Julio Jones is going right now, he got to be the number one guy because you can't count
Can't
on
trust
you can't count on him right now. And that's sad because he's injuries. It happens.
him. Yeah, injuries kill him.
Before you go, we got our first question. Welcome Live HD to the show. Long time viewer, so good to have you here. He says, got to choose two: Robert Woods, T.Y. Hilton, and Adam Thielen. Who are your two? I know Robert Woods is one of mine, just for the matchups they have coming up. But
I'm going Ty. I'm going Robert Woods and Thielen.
uh,
Yeah, I'm going Thielen. I mean, because Thielen, it's only two people that Kirk Cousins throw to,
mm-hmm.
and that's Jefferson and Thielen. So
yeah,
both of them guys get multiple receptions a game. So I would definitely say Robert Woods, because you gotta think of it this way: Robert Woods gonna get all his receptions because that's
right.
all they throw to there, and Thielen is the number one receiver. So T.Y. Hilton he's been playing well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's
But
uh-huh.
at this point of the game in the playoffs, you want to go with the safe bet, and the safe bet for me is Thielen and Robert Woods. So.
Like I said, I love Robert Woods. I love Robert Woods matchups for the next 2 weeks, honestly, because the Rams have the Jets and Seattle coming up, and so that's money, I think.
Oh yeah.
Now here's the deal. It's hard for me to decide between T.Y. Hilton and Thielen because Thielen wasn't great this past week, and T.Y. Hilton has been money for the last week. So I was like, because remember last week we talked about T.Y. Hilton, and I was like, I'm not a fan. I wouldn't play T.Y. Hilton. I said I like Michael Pittman. Apparently, Michael Pittman Jr. has like disappeared, and he's maybe never to be seen again. So I'm kind of tempted to say T.Y. Hilton over Adam Thielen. Plus, the Minnesota's going against Chicago, right? And so the one thing we can say, Chicago's not going to win as many games as, that defense would make you believe they were. But, hey, maybe with this new Mitch Trubisky, they could be. But if I have to pick, I'm a gamble on saying T.Y. Hilton is legitimate with a question mark. they play Houston this week, though. So, Houston, that's a good matchup, I think. So, I'm going to say Robert Woods, T.Y. Hilton. That's my final answer.
I'm going Thielen, but I will. Yeah. I'm on the fence with T.Y. Hilton because T.Y. Hilton, I said, he's been playing well lately.
He's been playing. I'm just going to ride the hot hand. That's the only reason. I think I'm with you. I think Adam Thielen has been more reliable, and like you said, he gets all the passes along with Jefferson. But I'm rolling with the hot hand right now.
And the fact that he's playing for a contract. T.Y. Hilton playing for a contract. Yeah. So he's going to continue the hack streak probably. But my gut telling me to go with Thielen because of the fact that you got to – those guys – we all know T.Y. Hilton can hit that stride, but we also see him
be streaky. Exactly.
He can be streaky.
He can disappear.
We don't know. You might get that T.Y. Hilton that don't do nothing this week. And
I know.
Get a Thielen that might just go off. So I'm going with a safe bet. I'm going with Robert Woods and I'm going with Thielen. So that's fine.
Thanks for the question, Live. So definitely Robert Woods. We kind of split on T.Y. Hilton and Adam Thielen, but hopefully it works out whichever way you go with it. So thanks for that question. We got another one. Clamped EZ. Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray this week?
Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray. Justin Herbert been playing bad lately.
He's been bad, but they play the Raiders, and I'm a Raiders guy. But I got to admit, our defense is horrible. So this would be a nice game for him to bounce back from.
And I think it probably will be a shootout. I think it'll be a shootout too. So I'm thinking, I'm going Justin Herbert. He's more prone to throw for 300 yards than Kyler Murray is. For me.
I would have to say, that's a tough one because I think Kyler Murray is better. And so my brain is telling me go Kyler Murray because he's more of a stud guy, I think, than Justin Herbert is. Arizona's playing against the Eagles. The Eagles don't really strike a lot of fear into me. So I'm gonna stay with Kyler Murray. But you might not want to trust me because like I said, I'm a Raiders fan, so I might be wishfully thinking that somehow the Raiders find a defense just to still stay in that playoff hunt. I honestly think this will be a bounce back game for Justin Herbert because the Raiders legitimately can't defend anybody or anything. But I'm gonna still say Kyler Murray.
I don't know the way the Eagles played against the Saints.
Who are those guys? Right.
I'm just saying. I mean, they stopped the Taysom Hill, who is a running quarterback, by the way.
Oh yeah, how'd that work out for you? Because I do remember you saying you're picking up the New Orleans Saints defense to go against Jalen Hurts.
Work out well for me.
Not gonna talk about that.
I switched them out. I switched them out for the Cowboys. I think.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I'm going Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert has a bounce back game, and I think it's going to be a shootout with y'all because both defenses are horrible.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you're looking for the more of a shootout, 300 yards, couple touchdowns type thing, Justin Herbert's your guy. Honestly, that's where I'm going. I mean, but that's just me. So.
And like you said, the Raiders defense is bad. So I don't think Justin Herbert's a bad play. I give you that. All right, we got one more question coming at you. Get ready for this one. This is from Macabre. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Last year, the Titans were the dark horse of the playoffs, shocking the Patriots in first round. What team do you think it would be this year? That's a great question.
Dark horse
playoff team.
Let me see. Any conference?
Any conference.
Any conference.
In fact, I have one for both.
If I'm going NFC, I'm saying it's gonna hurt me to my heart to say this, but I'm gonna say the Rams.
Really? Okay.
Rams is a dark horse. I like the way they moving as far as Cam Akers. They're giving him carries. Jared Goff, I guess since he had the talking with the coach a couple weeks ago, he started to play a little better.
Right.
I definitely can see that. In the AFC, obviously you can't say the Chiefs.
Oh no, that's
no. I'm just going through my mind.
Well, while you think about it, I'll let you think about it for a second. For the AFC, NFC, I like your Rams pick. I really do, because that NFC West has been a bit of a monster between the guys there. So I think they could definitely go in and upset somebody. And I think it's easier to be a dark again. But yeah, I think the NFC dark horse is the Washington football team because with that defense, if they can win, they have to win the division, obviously, between them and the Giants. But I think the Washington football team is the most real out of those teams. And if they can get in the playoffs with a healthy Alex Smith, I have to see about Antonio.
So he should be back.
So if he can come back, if they have Antonio Gibson back, Alex Smith is healthy, that defense, I think the Washington football team could upset anybody. Because I don't.
Cleveland is my dark horse.
That was mine too.
And the reason I say Cleveland is come December, January, you know how the weather get cold. They're probably outside of Tennessee. They're probably the best team that can run the football. They run the football 60-40.
Yeah.
So with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, cold weather, I'm just saying. I think in Baker Mayfield is playing slightly better. I think Cleveland is the dark horse.
Right. That's the one I was going with too. And they didn't get it done against the Ravens, but I call that more fluky. And they had some defense was surprisingly bad. But if they have their full defense available to them, with that running game, you can beat anybody. But I will add, I don't see a dark horse in the AFC. I think it's Kansas City Chiefs all the way because they're just clearly better than anybody else. Even on a bad game like they had against Miami, who's actually a really good team, they still out on top. And by the end of it, you kind of knew, okay, these guys can.
But they can probably hang with them and give them problems.
Bills?
Is Buffalo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only team I think. Because, I mean, gosh, we rag Josh Allen. But Josh Allen is.
But in our defense, Josh Allen has never thrown over 60%. And this year, hey, they talked about a lot about it in that last game, about how he'd been working to improve his throwing motion. Yes. And, whatever they did is working because
because they have Cole Beasley who's balling right now. I mean, honestly, he Stephon Diggs. The only problem I see with them is more at running back. Yeah. But that's the same thing with Kansas City, too. Yeah. Kansas City does not have a premier or a prime running back that they use all the time anyway. So it's a good matchup in a sense. So, I mean, I can see that being like an AFC championship game maybe. Yeah. So, definitely, because I don't see other teams. Like, Buffalo right now is playing probably the best. Like, Pittsburgh, to me, no.
What's happening with them? They just went from undefeated to can't win a game.
But
they play Cincinnati this week, so that should. If they struggle with Cincinnati, you can forget about the playoffs. I mean, even if they win, but they win poorly, forget it. They're not gonna make much noise.
But they haven't. The thing is, they have not beat a team over 500 this year.
Right.
So all their wins came with teams right at 500 or under 500.
Right.
So they have not beat a really, really good team this year. So that says a lot, though. So, I mean, we're going to see what happens this week, but I don't know. Yeah. They slip and fall.
The Steelers have been depressingly bad for me. But thanks for those questions. Live HD, Clamp Easy, Macabre, great questions. And we have Anita Bracey joining us once again. So hello to you also.
Hello.
Yeah.
So we're gonna finish the list off.
Oh, yeah. No, what was in wide receivers? Did you finish with your wide receivers?
No, we got 2 more.
Okay.
So we got Allen Robinson we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
9 receptions, 123, and a touchdown. And I want to give a special shout out, special shout out, Brandon Ayuk.
I figured that would be on your list.
Come on, you know that.
Despite a horrible quarterback,
Oh my gosh, man, I don't even want to talk about that, man. He's so terrible, man. Lord have mercy. He needed to be on the bench, but that's another story. And then I want to show some love to this guy who always make the list at tight end, is Travis Kelce.
There you go.
Kelce, I mean, what can you say about him? 8 receptions, 136, a touchdown. Kelce is
the best tight end in football. I feel you 100%.
Actually, the best tight end comes back this week. He is the leading receiver in the whole entire league.
Insane.
I mean, among receivers.
Insane.
He has more yards than all receivers right now, which is crazy. But he top 2 easy. So got to get it to him, So my hate can't hate no more. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and say he's glad. the number two tight.
You've been saying number 2 all year, so that's not an improvement. No.
You thought I was going there, don't you?
You were almost on the road to recovery.
No, I'm not. I'm never gonna be on the road to recovery. I'm sorry, not gonna do that. So it's not gonna happen.
I know it's painful for you to admit, but what Travis Kelce is doing is just insane.
It's insane. But he get opportunities, man.
With Tyreek Hill there, by the way, because Tyreek Hill was 79 yards, 32 rushing yards, a touchdown rushing, a touchdown receiving, and Travis Kelce still put up 136 yards. It's like amazing.
I mean, with all that talent they got out there,
they have talent everywhere. That's why I say in the NFC, I expect that we could get a dark horse team. In the AFC, there's just nobody even close.
Honestly, Kansas City would have to have a really, really, really bad,
really
bad
and not a 3 interception bad game like Patrick Mahomes.
Bad game.
I guess we'll have to be like a 6 interception game. I don't know what they can do to lose other than just not come out and play because they're just better than everybody.
Yeah,
clearly better than everybody.
Andy Reid calls the
Yeah.
plays he be calling to be crazy.
Yeah.
What I like about Andy Reid, he's really aggressive.
Yeah.
He's like 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 10. They go for it. It
With
don't
that
matter.
offense, it's
Yeah.
easy to be aggressive. With you have stud McCole Hartman is their
Kick
worst
returner,
wide
right?
receiver. I don't even know. Like McCole Hartman would be a number one stud on certain
On
in
anybody
special
else's
teams
team.
and as a wide receiver. And it's like,
Yeah,
wow, that's like their fourth option on offense.
exactly.
That's just insane.
And he returned the kick
Yeah.
last week. And I mean, you get it all different ways. The defense, the secondary, pretty good. They step up a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't saying they're the
They
greatest.
have a
defense,
conditionally good, and they're actually top ranked against the pass. But
Yeah.
it's because what they do is their offense is so good. And we saw this years ago with like the Colts, for instance. Their
Yeah.
defense wasn't really that great. They had enough pass rushers up front, but what made them great is they scored fast and they score a lot. And so they make your offense one dimensional. And once they
Exactly.
know you have to pass to keep up, it's over. That's
They
that's
go
when
to
their
the-
secondary can shine. You got
Yeah,
guys like Matt, the Honey Badger, that he's a predator, and so what do you? He's looking for you to just pass it, just one slight mistake, and then he's running it back. So that's
And then because they run a cover 2, once they get up, they'll run a cover 2 all day long. So it's what can you do about it?
nothing,
So
nothing.
definitely.
All right, well, we're still gonna probably give some more KC love later, but gotta get a little. Shaquem has joined us. He's back. And he says he has some bad news. I guess it's that Mike Evans isn't the best wide receiver in the league. Or, I don't know. He kind of left us with a cliffhanger. So I can't wait to hear. Shaquem, what's your bad news?
Shaq, get with me, Shaq. Get with me, Shaq. We got to talk. Get with me. We got to talk, Shaq. Get with me.
So while we wait for this bad news that's coming, Mike Gesicki talking about tight ends. Had 2 touchdowns.
Do you slide him in that tight end conversation next year?
I think I do.
I
think I do because since Tua's been there, he's been phenomenal. All right,
Okay.
so Shaquem Shaq's back with us. Mike Evans is not top 5 this year. He has been replaced by Stephon Diggs. And hey, I'm gonna go back to us being geniuses. Actually, I'm a little bit more of a genius than you are, but we're still back to being geniuses. Where we said that Tom Brady is not gonna have it going with those wide receivers like
We said that.
like Jameis Winston did, because Tom Brady. I mean, hey, they're gonna win more games, obviously. So
Yeah.
in the long run, I guess it works. But just the fact, well, part of the problem has been Chris Godwin hasn't been there reliably all year as well. So I'm gonna give him a slight pass. But yeah, Mike Evans has dropped out of the top 5. Not just in real life, but in fantasy football also. And we'll see what happens with him.
We'll see
But
what happens.
given the situation, Mike Evans has actually, to me, been a bit impressive, given all the circumstances. Because, I mean, without Chris Godwin, because, with Chris Godwin there, you know, they both fed off each other. And so with half of the dynamic duo missing, I'm actually impressed with how well Mike Evans has done, despite that. So.
See, my problem with that whole team is this.
Uh-huh.
You can't bring in that many weapons. Like, honestly. You can't bring in an Antonio Brown who I will give you
Kansas City
credit.
did it.
I mean, but it's different in Kansas City because you have a leader in Andy Reid who can kind of control that locker room. Not saying the coach they have in Tampa Bay can't control it, but you don't bring in Antonio Brown because Tom Brady wants him, and you already got 2 good receivers sitting there already, plus a Gronk, and you sprinkle in some Scotty Miller every now and then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too much going on there because you got to feed all of them. Then you got Ronald Jones coming out the backfield, who was surprisingly good this year.
Very good.
So it's like, how do you make that work? And then you got, again, like I said at the beginning, Tom Brady. Jameis Winston, yes, he did throw 30 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
But Jameis Winston threw the ball down the field. They threw the ball 40, 50 times.
Yeah.
Tom Brady cannot run. He can't move anymore. And that O-line is the same O-line that they had last year with Jameis Winston when he got sacked 33 times.
Yeah.
But we said this in the beginning. If you notice, any game that they play a team with that can get pressure,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady looked bad.
Right.
Against the Saints, he looked horrible against the Saints both
Both
times
times. Right.
because they get pressured, and he looked it bad.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that was his weak
come
point
on.
even with the Patriots. If you can get a pass rush like the Giants did those years, Tom Brady becomes very mediocre.
Right.
To tell you the
Comes
truth.
a regular court, but
No.
so it's like he's gonna be a year older.
A little ageism right there.
Yeah, he's not gonna be 55.
Right.
He's gonna be 45 next year. So I have to give him an extra 10 years. He's taking football years. He's gonna be a little older. I don't think at some point either they're gonna fix the old line or he's gonna have to say, "Look, it's time for me to go."
Word up. Oh well, Shaquem says he'll take Mike Evans being top 7 for a playoff berth, and I think they will get that, but don't expect them to go too far.
No.
All right, Shaq also has a question. He has to start one in the flex this week.
Mm-hmm.
You got Austin Eckler, Cam Akers, or Jonathan. Wow, these are your flex spots. Goodness, Austin Eckler, Cam Akers, or Jonathan Taylor. Who are you flexing with those three?
Jonathan Taylor, Eckler. My heart want to say Eckler.
Right.
My heart want to say that, but Jonathan Taylor, man. Jeez.
Jonathan Taylor has been explaining this. He says the waiver wire has been great for him this year. I'm glad it's been good for you because the waiver wire has not been my friend this year, like at all.
Jonathan Taylor, I want to say Jonathan Taylor so bad, but I love Eckler.
Has a good matchup.
Eckler.
Mm-hmm.
I love Eckler. Eckler just gives you stuff in the passing game. He gives you stuff in the running game. He gives you a little bit of everything, so you can get points all over the field. I just don't. Man, that's a tough one,
right.
Shaq. Man, that's like flipping a coin, man.
That's not a bad option there, right?
No, it's not. That's all good options.
Well, I say it like this. I think I'm going to go where you wanted to go but didn't. I think I'm going to go with Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
and the reason because this week, Austin Eckler and the Chargers play against sad that I have to keep dissing my team so much this episode.
Oh, they bad against the run, too.
Hey, if you run the ball against the Raiders, you're going to get 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, you got to go Eckler. You got to go Eckler, definitely.
Yeah.
They play the Raiders. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that run defense is terrible.
Now, I do love what we've seen from Cam Akers, and they're playing against the Jets. So that's no bad choices here. Honestly, there's no bad choice.
Honestly, I would tell him to do this. If he's in a playoff game, who has the later start as far as time? Right. Because if you need the points, like for instance, Eckler plays the Jets. Well, Eckler plays the Raiders.
Yeah, Eckler plays the Raiders.
And Cam Akers plays the Jets.
Yeah. And Jonathan Taylor plays Houston. I think Jonathan Taylor is probably at the bottom of that list for me. Not because, he's been a monster. I just know, and this is just from personally how bad the Raiders are. I just think Austin Eckler is probably the pick.
Yeah, I would go Eckler, then I would go Cam Akers, then I would go Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
In that order. But I would, if it was me and I had all three of those, I would look at the time they play. Because especially Akers and Eckler. If Eckler has like a 4 o'clock game, and you know you're going to need some type of points at that 4 o'clock game, definitely I'm going Eckler. Now, if all of them play at 1, then you have really no choice.
Yeah, I don't have the times with me. So.
But that's the thinking I'm thinking, because you want to have some guys playing in that afternoon game to get you some points in case you need them. Right. So that's what I would do.
All right. I just have to know out of curiosity, Shaq.
If
those are your flex guys, who are your starters?
Yeah, who is your starting running back? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, because I might throw one of those guys, depending on who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eckler plays tomorrow night, so that's the Raiders.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like if you play tomorrow night, well, that's an early game though.
Yeah. So sometimes the Thursday night games aren't the best to play.
Yeah, I don't like them.
But the Raiders are like really, really bad.
Now,
really bad.
I want to know who his starting running backs is though. That's what I want to know. then that'll kind of help me out a little bit more too. If he got some average running backs,
Oh.
he need to put one of those guys in there. Who's his running back?
Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. If you don't win a championship this year, I'm ashamed of you.
Shaq, Lord have mercy.
Goodness gracious.
I feel bad, but I feel good for you. I just don't. You can't bitch those two guys.
Right. It's like you're gonna put up like a monster amount of points no matter who you play. That's the answer right there.
Honestly, I probably if being an Eckler play tomorrow night, and I'm not a fan of Thursday night games.
Yeah, I can see.
I might
Cam Akers.
Yeah, I'm going Cam Akers because of the fact that you have a couple extra days to kind of
get it together.
Eckler don't do what he's supposed to do. You don't want to take that L like that.
Right.
So,
I can't argue. I can't really argue against that.
Yeah, I would definitely do Cam Akers. Then Jonathan Taylor. About that. So.
All right. Woo. Nice team though. Great question.
He ain't lying about that. Lord have mercy.
Oh, he says he has that squad and he's still the third seed.
Who is this? Oh, Lord have mercy. Hey, Shaq, holla at me. I know we need to talk about coming into this league next year.
Yes, indeed.
Definitely. We need to talk. Talk to me.
All right. Anita has a question, not fantasy related, but have we thought about doing a game day play-by-play? We actually talked about going live during the game. I don't know how play-by-play it would be if we did it, but we have to make sure it's not a 49ers game.
Yeah, because I'm not going to.
It ain't going to. Right.
It
could be a Raiders game because I'm done with us for this year anyway.
Well, I will say this, though.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of hard for us to do that because of the fact that we both were concentrating on our teams, fantasy teams.
All right, we're in 7 and 8 leagues, so it's hard, it's hard to break concentration.
But I think now it's kind of more of a clear run. We probably can do something like that.
Hey, maybe for next season we'll try to put something together.
I think that'd be
or a playoff game when both of us have been eliminated.
Well,
one of us already is, but I'm not gonna throw shade. But
no, it's all good, bro. Hey, it's been a tough year. I ain't gonna lie, man.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple of weeks we probably can kind of pull one.
Or
we actually talked about it.
Yeah,
we did talk about it, but we just gotta find the right game.
Good suggestion. So we'll bookmark that one and get back with y'all. But Shaq wants you to know he wants all the smoke. He's in. So you named the league.
Okay.
But hey, drafting against us, you ain't getting that lineup that you got.
Yeah, you sure ain't getting that lineup, Lord mercy.
Yeah.
Nah.
But that's
you ain't getting that. Please don't draft between us because you're gonna be in a very bad nightmare because we done had guys draft between us and it really wasn't a good feeling.
Yeah. Maybe not this year, but in normal years.
Normal years, we like this. I remember one year your dad drafted in between us,
right?
And I think he had like his worst draft ever. He was like, "How do I get players in between y'all? Because y'all both be going for the same players. You already know what's going on. So it's like, you want all the smoke, Shaq? Come on, we coming." So yeah.
All right. Well, those are the impacts. You ready to hit these playoff heroes and zeros?
Let's go.
Who you got?
Look, we got a game, people. It's called Playoff Heroes and Playoff Zeros.
Explain it. What is it?
So basically, the playoff heroes are the guys that you least expect to do anything, but they're actually doing something now. And your playoff zeros are the guys who you thought was going to do something, who aren't doing anything for you right now. So I'm going to start with the playoff heroes. And pretty much been talking about most of these guys all show. Baker Mayfield, who has been horrible this year. I mean, he's been completely horrible. But for some reason, he woke up about 2 weeks ago and said, I'm going to start playing better. And he has been a playoff hero for a number of teams that I know. As a matter of fact, the last 2 weeks, I played the same guy in the league the last 2 weeks, and he had Baker Mayfield, and he beat me both times with Baker Mayfield.
Right.
So, and then I know my brother had Baker Mayfield, and he has won his games with Baker Mayfield. It's just sad.
I was one of those people your brother won against. They kept me out of the playoffs.
Sorry. I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all good.
Cam Akers. They finally let him loose. They finally gave him the ball. They finally gave him 20 carries. He is the best running back in that running back committee. They need to give him the ball 20 times a game. Easy. Don't even think twice about it. Jonathan Taylor, another one. He's the best running back in that committee. Give him the ball. T.Y. Hilton, we talked about. T.Y. Hilton has finally made a sighting. We said that last week.
Yeah.
He's definitely been that guy. And David Montgomery, your guy. He made my list. And I'm gonna throw an extra one out there. From Buffalo. The slot receiver. I just said his name.
Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley, the last 3 weeks has went over 100 yards a game the last 3 weeks. So he has definitely been somebody who's been going into the playoffs and last week starting the playoffs. Because I know a lot of leagues starting playoffs this week. So definitely. But my zeros are.
Before you go to your zeros, because from my standpoint, this could pop up. Shaq wants to know for another team he has, should he start Big Ben this week? You know, how the Steelers have been getting exposed lately, but they play Cincinnati. So now you can go, because I kind of know some of your lists, so I wanted to throw it in before you got started.
No. He's been a playoff zero for me.
Right.
My playoff zeros are Matt Ryan. He's been horrible. I want to say he's had a bad season all year. I want to guard on. I think he's had maybe 1 or 2 good games out of this whole year. And I got Matt Ryan in a couple leagues. Matt Ryan's been
Ryan
horrible. So Matt Ryan definitely is not been good this year at all. Ben Roethlisberger been terrible. He's been terrible the last 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Pittsburgh. I can't tell you. I don't know. But he has not looked good. And Shaq, if you have a better option at quarterback, I would go with a better option. I would like. Matter of fact, who is the other? Do you have another quarterback on your roster that you could play? That's my question for you, Shaq. Ezekiel Elliott, terrible. He's been horrible all year since Dak went down. We haven't seen Zeke do much of nothing outside of him, and I think that's bad for Kamara. I think because at the end of the day, you got to think about next year. If he's going to be the starting quarterback next year, do you go high on Alvin Kamara next year, being that you already know how they're going to run things with Taysom Hill?
Right. Well, let's talk about some of your. I like your heroes. Let's talk about some of your zeros.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, Big Ben. By the way, Shaq says he doesn't have a better option. He has to hit the waiver wire for that.
Okay.
Big Ben, their problem is one, and they've said it many times, they have failed to be able to establish a running game. And so without a running game, everybody already knows it's a pass or it's a short pass that they're using to pretend they have a running game. And the other problem has been the dropsies, and that goes to one of my zeros, Deontay Johnson, who I mentioned at the top of the show, single-handedly lost me my quarterfinal playoff game because he got his butt benched in the first half. And so in the second, if he had the amount of points in the first half as he had in the second half, I win that game. I'm in the playoffs still, but I'm not going to be bitter. But I'm going to say Deontay Johnson, who you remember I was really big on earlier, and I said he is the number 1 wide receiver in the Steelers. No, he's not. He's not even the third best. James Washington might even be better than him at this point.
Ooh.
So that's right. I'm demoting him. So it's
wow. It's some hate coming out of you.
Hey, if you burn me once, you're done with me. So DeAndre Johnson, you're not number 1, and that's the reason I don't start Big Ben. Even though I like the Cincinnati matchup. The Cincinnati matchup is nice, but yeah, I'd probably look for because you can't. Hey, it's the playoffs. It's winning. To go on, you lose, you're out. I don't think I want to trust, not so much Big Ben, but I don't want to trust his wide receivers. I don't want to trust their lack of a running game at this point. I think he should play better than he has the last few weeks against Cincinnati. So if you can't find a better option with him, hopefully the rest of your team can make up for whatever he's not going to give you. But yeah. Another one you said, Ezekiel Elliott. And Zeke has been struggling, and he's just immensely struggled since Andy Dalton's be there. The last time he's had a rushing touchdown was week 5.
Jeez Louise.
Week 5. That's like 8 straight weeks, no rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's had 1 receiving touchdown in that time span. And the scary part is Tony Pollard, who has
better.
Hey, he's looked better. He actually, I think he gave more touches this past week than Ezekiel Elliott. It was either he had more or they were like right neck and neck. And so, hey, as much as Ezekiel Elliott's been that legend stud guy that you draft like top 3 running backs, he ain't been that this year. And going forward in the playoffs, you know who they play this week? San Francisco. That ain't going to go well. That's not going to go well at all. And then after that, they play Philly, who's not really a slouch either.
Yeah. I just, Lord. Yeah. I don't want to put it on Andy Dalton, but it could be Andy Dalton. I mean, really, they're going to have to pay Dak.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Dak is going to have to get paid from them or somebody else.
Yeah.
Because he makes that team 100% better than they are now.
Yeah.
He looks healthy now. He actually off of crutches now, so he looks like he's going to be back in time for the season to start next year. So,
right,
Zeke, but for them to pay him all that money, and he ain't doing that, I don't. So really, it comes back to this. You remember when without the other,
right?
You see what I'm saying? And the O-line has been horrible this year, but he need Dak to to keep that defense honest as far as. Because, Dak going to throw it for 450 yards.
Right.
So it's going to keep him honest at the same time. So he need Dak just like Dak need him.
Yeah. But this for this playoff time,
I wouldn't play him.
I hate to say I would bench Ezekiel Elliott, but I might bench Ezekiel Elliott.
I would.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Shatz came back with these are his best options he sees on the waiver wire. Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, and Jalen Hurts. I think I'm going Tannehill. Baker's been phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my heroes as well. But I think I like Tannehill with his matchups. At least
I think.
Yeah,
I like Tannehill better. I do. I think if you could pick up Tannehill off the waiver wire, I would definitely go Tannehill with Big Ben.
Yeah,
I would feel more comfortable with Tannehill. Even though
at this point, I would feel comfortable with Tannehill or Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I would try to pick one of those guys up on waiver wire and just see what you can do with them. If you can get them, definitely, I would play Tannehill with Big Ben because Connor hasn't been running like you said. They've been trying to disguise it with like 7-yard passes,
right?
And it's not working for them. People already kind of know what it is.
Nah.
So. Yeah, nah. I would go Tannehill, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, I'm not 100% convinced this is going to be true, but like they said, they've been trying to establish a running game. Cincinnati is a pretty decent team to try to start that running game with, so maybe they try not to use big Roethlisberger as much. I don't know, but yeah, I like Tannehill. They're playing against, let me see, Detroit. Yeah. There you go. Tannehill.
Tannehill, definitely. AJ Brown going to have a monster game. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question. Okay. All right. You mentioned Matt Ryan. Going back to your zeros.
Yes.
We've always thought about Matt Ryan as that guy who's throwing for easily 5,000 yards in a season. The last time he had a 300-yard game, week 7. You know what I'm saying? And his next 2 games are against Tampa Bay and Kansas City. I am fading Matt. I have to play Matt Ryan in the leagues. Well, actually, in one league, I might actually bench Matt Ryan and go with Jared Goff.
I would
this next week, but
I would.
Without a healthy Julio Jones, I don't have a lot of trust in Matt Ryan to end the season. So I'm with you on that. I'm gonna stay with the zeros for now, and I'm gonna add a guy, Tyler Lockett, who
terrible. The last couple of weeks have been horrible.
So remember back in week 7 when he had 200 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns?
He ain't did nothing.
He ain't done nothing since then.
Oh my God!
He hasn't had a touchdown since week 11. So, hey, DK Metcalf is the dude, and hey, the first part of the season, Tyler Lockett was good, but you can go ahead and put him on your bench for the rest of the season, um, unless you just are desperate and you need him. But he's not there, and apparently that connection he had with Russell Wilson isn't worth a lot because hey, DK Metcalf, he's a beast. So I understand why it's happening, but I'm still surprised they're not using Tyler Lockett more because I think Tyler Lockett's still a very talented guy. He's quick. He runs great routes, but if he's not getting the ball, it means absolutely nothing.
Well, I think you need to. They got to get him more involved, and that means putting him back on punt return to kind of get him involved. I think that's the only way he gets more involved. But I just don't. I don't know. He's faded. I'm gonna add one more to my list of non heroes. Julio Jones.
Because he might not play.
Because you just don't know when he's gonna play. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, the old Julio would have played through these injuries. I'm trying to figure out.
The old Julio was younger.
That's true.
He ain't the spring chicken anymore. So
that's true.
As his age starts to go up, he hasn't. The last good game he had was week 8 when he put up 137 yards. So right now, I'm with you. You can't rely on Julio Jones because you don't know when he's gonna play. So he might get in this week. We'll see. But the way he has been and the way Matt Ryan has been, I'm not putting my faith in him either. I'm with you there. Jump back to another one of your zeros, who was Alvin Kamara. He has been, like you said, terrible since Taysom Hill's been there. Last week was the first time that he outrushed Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill has led in rushing every week he's been there until this year, and it was still only 10 or 12 yards separating the two. And it's not like he had great numbers. His receiving numbers have been fairly consistent with where it has been Alvin Kamara, but his rushing numbers have dropped off. Yeah. And it's not like he was getting a lot of rushing yards to begin with. Remember? Because we always talk several weeks. I remember you always put Alvin Kamara in the receiver list for our impact players. And so now all he has are those receptions because his rushing has disappeared almost entirely.
So. Now, do you think going into next year, because just a slight preview, people, we are going to be doing a way too early list. But do you think, because Breeze is not going to be there, obviously, we think Breeze should be done this year?
He should be.
Well, according to coach.
Yeah, he said he's not going to be the. Yeah, I think he's already said he's not going to be the guy.
He already said he's not expecting Drew Brees to be there next year.
So he's going to retire, or he's going to be like Phillip Rivers, playing a meaningless year somewhere.
Yeah. So, does that affect Alvin Kamara's redraft next year?
Yeah, I think it has to. Yeah, because
I think so.
I mean, I don't think he's going to fall horribly far from because he was in some people's mind number 1 running back. Not mine. It was Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott were the top guys, but Alvin Kamara was right behind them, right?
Yeah.
And so I think he falls. He's probably still top 10 because you do get those receiving yards from him. But if they're gonna run with Taysom Hill like they are now, he becomes like those guys we see in Buffalo, where they're there, but you don't know when to ride them. They become like the guys in Baltimore, where you have your running back being your quarterback. And so, exactly. Yeah, I'm not willing to put as much in the Alvin Kamara as I am. But I already told you, my number 1 guy for next year is Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook, number 1, definitely. Yeah. He's the number 1 running back next year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have him number 1, something wrong with you. But just to keep on that conversation a little bit, I think I read some rumors. Well, I read that Jameis Winston, they may bring him back. We actually had a conversation
about that
on the phone about this. And they saying they may bring him back to compete for the job. But if I'm Jameis Winston, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Because if they wanted to give him the job, they would have gave it to him when Breeze got hurt this time around.
Right.
I don't see him winning that job because they invested too much money into Taysom Hill already.
Right.
As far as the contract they gave him. So I think at the end of the day, if I'm Jameis Winston, but with Jameis Winston, Kamara is a better.
Yeah.
He's a better runner. He's a top tier running back with Jameis Winston than he is with Hill.
Right. You design
So
running plays for Taysom Hill. You aren't
yeah,
designing any running plays for Jameis Winston.
No,
If Jameis Winston is running, it's a bad thing going on right there.
exactly.
He's trying to escape. That's the only reason you're going to see Jameis Winston running the ball. Taysom Hill is going to eat into anything that Alvin Kamara can give you.
I mean, I wouldn't even draft Taysom Hill like next year if he was a quarterback. I wouldn't draft him.
Right.
I mean, me personally.
I might have missed this question earlier, but Shaq asked, "Do you think it's a drop off for Mike Thomas?"
With Taysom Hill, with Hill?
Yeah. Well, are you seeing it?
No, I will say this:
Mhm.
since he came in the game, you should know you had Michael Thomas.
That first game was scary, but Michael Thomas has been good since then. But next year, I definitely drop Michael Thomas from where not with Taysom. I don't think he's that same guy with Taysom Hill.
No. Now
Yeah.
with Jameis Winston,
This year coming in, Michael Thomas was number one wide receiver easily. This year is easily, and it probably should have been anyway, Devontae Adams. And so
Devontae Adams definitely.
yeah, so I have Devontae Adams ahead of Michael Thomas. I have Tyreek Hill ahead of Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I want to say Kenny Galladay, but not based on what we saw this year. You got to be healthy. You got to. Yeah.
Matter of fact, he had another one on my non-hero list. Galladay has been terrible this year.
You can't.
He has been.
Hey, you gotta play.
He's soft as cotton, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. Every time I turn around, he hurt.
Yeah.
He's been out for the last 6 weeks, man, with some type of small injury. I just do not understand.
Hey.
Like Devontae Adams is the number one best receiver in the league right now.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is right there. Hopkins is right there.
DeAndre Hopkins definitely ahead of Michael Thomas.
Who else?
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin.
That's right. Well, Hold on. Let me see what the quarterback situation is before I say Calvin Ridley.
Your boy from the Chargers.
Keenan Allen. I was going to say him.
Allen.
He's
And I'm
definitely.
putting Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is a tier 1 receiver next year.
I would say let me see what the quarterback situation is in Chicago next year, but
it don't even matter. It don't matter.
I was about to say, but I mean, Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles, and he's still putting up the numbers he's doing. It doesn't matter. You're right.
It don't matter. They gonna give him the ball. He gets the ball 15 times. He gets 15 targets a game. It don't matter who's throwing the ball to him. It could be Chase Daniels throwing the ball to him. He getting the ball.
Shaq says he puts Diggs ahead of Michael Thomas next year. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far yet. Diggs has impressed me this year.
Over Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
Now, if we doing a tier 1, because I think last year we had about how many? We had 7 receivers in tier 1 last year.
I would have to go back. Was it that many? It could have been.
I think it was 7. Yeah. I think it was about.
I have to go back to our website. I'm not sure.
But Diggs was a 2 for us last year.
All right.
So I'm thinking Diggs this year slides to a bottom tier 1. Maybe. But see, Tyreek Hill was a 2 last year.
Right. Tyreek Hill was definitely he's the number 1.
He's a 1 this year coming up, though.
Shaq also has DK Metcalf on the list. I put him. Yeah, I'm putting him ahead of who? Michael Thomas or DK Metcalf?
DK.
I think I'm going DK. Yeah.
I'm going DK.
I think I'm going
Yeah, I'm going DK. Definitely.
Because I know one thing. Russell Wilson forgot how to throw. And if DK is going to be his number 1 target at his size.
So hold on.
Wow, we dropped Michael Thomas pretty high. Pretty low.
Are you sliding Michael Thomas down to a tier 2 next year?
I might. I mean, now that we sit and think about it, I mean, as much as, the last few weeks, Michael Thomas has looked good with Taysom Hill, but a full season, like we said this when we were talking about Jameis Winston, they're going to have more film on Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback next year.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to go as great. Nah.
I'm telling you. When I talked to you the other day, I say he's a slight better version of a Tebow for me. He just got his accuracy is a little bit better than Tebow, but that's it. Both of them are running big quarterbacks who play tight end. I mean,
they're very similar. One's just, I guess now a legitimate starting quarterback. I'm still not 100% convinced, but I'm more convinced of Taysom Hill being a starting quarterback than Tebow. So
yeah,
but their
Now,
skill sets are very similar.
very similar. Now, Michael Thomas sliding down to tier 2 is hard for me.
That's a hard one. Right.
That's a hard one for me. Now, he's a Adams, Hopkins, Hill, DK.
If Michael Thomas is on the top tier, he's going to be at the back of the top tier. I got a
Michael
question.
Thomas.
I got to get
Michael
back
Thomas after those guys.
I got to get back at Shaq because he's thrown out two names as potentially better than Michael Thomas, and none of them were Mike Evans. What's going on?
What did he say? Oh, yeah, we definitely got to talk about
He
that.
said Diggs and Metcalf. I'm still waiting for Mike Evans.
Diggs might be a high number 2.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a number 1.
I am impressed with Josh Allen this year. I'm not convinced I want to put his wide receivers as a top tier.
That's
in the
pretty
top
high.
tier group yet. Because to be a top tier wide receiver means you have a top tier quarterback. And I think Josh Allen is showing this year that he's in that top tier category.
He's going top 5 next year.
Yeah, easily. But that's a tough one. He's winning me over, but I can't say, at least in our top, I can't say in our way too early picks that I have Josh Allen good enough to make his wide receiver a top tier wide receiver yet.
He's a Diggs is a high round the corner number 2. Like he round the corner, but he's
pressing on it.
He's pressing on it, but you gotta.
Shaq said, "Stop the disrespect," because Tebow won a playoff game.
No,
and he had nothing to do with it.
Had nothing to do with that. He threw a 10-yard pass, and the receiver took it the rest of the way. So no, he didn't. No, he get credit for that play all the time. No, we're not going to give him credit for that on this show.
But he said you never said Mike Evans was better than Michael Thomas, but they might be on level with each other now. I agree with that.
Mike Evans is a tier 2 wide receiver for the next year. Easy. Tier 2.
Let me think on that one for a second.
Who are you?
We had Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in our tier 1 starting this year.
Who are you taking out? Are you taking out DK?
Hey, it's gonna be tough in that top. I'm just thinking about it right now. That's gonna be tough to put these tiers together for next year because
that's what I'm saying.
That's some wide receivers.
Are you taking out?
I'm not making. No, of course not. Don't get crazy.
Are you taking out Hopkins?
We might have 10 wide receivers in our tier 1.
Oh Lord! Oh no, we got to keep that list kind of short. That's a lot of tier.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one to put together. I don't. My honest answer is right now. I'm glad it's at the way too early phase because that'll give you some time to work this out. I don't know.
That list. Matter of fact, I got something for you, Shaq. We need you to. You might put a list together for us. You remember we had guys do lists for us last year. We might have to get Shaq to do his top tier list next year to see what. Because we had do it last year.
I know we had your brother and Dent do it.
And Dent, yeah. Shaq, you might have to get on in this one, Shaq. Your top tiers for next year.
Hey, guess who's joining us now? Bills fan for life.
What's up, baby?
All right, he says Diggs will finish with 125 receptions, and you put him tier 2. I don't think so.
No. I'm telling you, he round the corner, man.
He's right.
I'm telling you, he like itching around the corner to get on that block, man. But I'm telling you, you got Adams, you got Hopkins, you got Hill, you got.
It's gonna be a tough. Hey, that tier 1's gonna be. I don't think tier 2 is gonna be an insult this year because
no, it's not.
It's gonna maybe it's be like tier 1A and tier 1B, but.
Just thinking about
it's hard
that
to
list.
Not say based on what we've seen this because Josh Allen, and Keith knows this. We bashed Josh Allen a lot, and he called us out on it, and rightfully so. Josh Allen is the truth. Yeah, now am I willing to say his wide receiver is the number 1 tier? Part of me wants to say yes, and the other part of me wants to say prove it a second year. Because we
You
had
know
question
what?
marks about Josh Allen and we had question marks about Stephon Diggs going into the season. They both have been remarkable. So we can eat it and say we were wrong and put them both in tier one, or we can say we're still right, but it just takes a while to be proven so.
Well, you know what? You know what I was thinking.
Right.
You remember? You know, we had four, including us. We had four people do a tiers list last year.
Yeah.
We got to extend that list this year.
Yeah.
We know some guys that got some real
Hey,
opinions, and I think two on the line right now. I know they listening.
definitely.
Uh, Bills for life.
Bills fan.
We talk every day. You know, we need you on this list with us. We need your tier list this year, and Shaq, we need this tier list since you coming in.
Shaq
So,
already said he's with it. So.
okay, we gotta have that because we got some real. We're gonna have some real
It's gonna
different
be
opinions
tough this year, right? That's gonna be interesting.
Woo.
I gotta put
Yeah.
that. I gotta put my bookmark on Stephon Diggs, tier one. Maybe.
I'm telling you, he round the corner.
Yeah.
He like you know that dude that's coming around the corner on the bike. He coming around the corner on the bike. He just ain't
He's
there
hitting the
yet.
bell on his bike.
He hitting the bell. He almost there. I just don't know who.
Who do you take out? Right.
Who do you take out? I mean, Michael Thomas got to be in that list. He's got to be a tier one. At the bottom, though, not at the top.
I want to see who his quarterback is. That's all I say. Because I don't see anybody coming into New Orleans better than Josh Allen has shown himself to be this year.
If Jameis Winston there, he's a tier one.
Jameis Winston ain't getting the job. If they were going to give that job to Jameis Winston, he would have it right now today.
You're right. You should. With Hill, you're right. He slides to a tier two for me with Hill. He has to. It's sad for me to say that, but Lord,
after what we saw last year, it's sad to say, but I can't logically put Michael Thomas in my tier one today. We'll see what happens between now and the off season.
I think we're missing one though, man. I feel
I'm
like
sure we are. It's hard to do it off the. Hey, it was hard to do it last year.
You know who
pen
we
and
missing?
paper. So yeah,
we're missing your boy from the Chargers.
No, we said Keenan Allen.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. I would rewind the tape, but we're watching it. We're talking live right now. We said Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, the one.
Keenan Allen is definitely number one tier next year.
We had him at a 2 last year. You know that, right?
We did. But that's where we thought Tyrod Taylor was going to be the quarterback.
That's true.
I stand by that firmly.
That's true.
I stand by that firmly.
We did say if the rookie came in the game, he may slide to a tier one with the rookie. Okay, I give you that.
So, yeah.
That list's going to be long, man.
It's going to be difficult. Woo. But the good news is for you, fantasy football players, next year, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I'm not going early wide receiver because, goodness, we run off a lot of really good names. I'm waiting a round or two before I pick my first wide receiver.
I don't know that, boy. Lord have mercy.
So,
you might go definitely go running back early, but in certain leagues you're going quarterback first. But still, like that. But even that quarterback list gonna look.
It's gonna be.
That tier one gonna look crazy next year.
We have Anthony Wilkins Jr. joining us, but boo him!
On?
Get off our show. We don't even. Hey, I play Tony this week in the playoffs, and he's been talking too much noise lately. So
yeah, take him out.
About to take him out. I have to.
Whew. Yeah.
But thanks for joining us anyway, Tony. Even though you're a Bama.
Yeah. But look, I want to talk about something, man. We got a couple articles that came out this week, and I'm glad Bills for Life on the line tonight about Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
They saying it was one article saying that no real number
elite
one wide receiver
right.
would want to play with Lamar Jackson, and I totally agree with that because I've been saying this the whole year. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback playing. No. I mean, a running back playing quarterback.
Hey, Lamar Jackson was the hero in this last game, coming out of the tunnel, saving the Ravens when they really should have lost that game. But at the end of the day, he threw 11 passes. I mean, I know he missed some of that second half being cramping, as it was listed, but he threw 11 passes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. And by the way, this week, 3 wide receivers on the COVID list for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Not that he uses them much anyway.
Anyway, so
It's not a really big problem.
long as it
But
ain't Mark Andrews, he all right.
yeah, as long as Mark Andrews there. But
Yeah.
in real talk, why would they? This was Doug Gottlieb, by the way, who put this out there, saying no elite wide receiver would go there, so they're gonna have to draft somebody. And then I'm with him until they put passing as a big part of Lamar Jackson's game.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not. I'm not going there for my numbers to suffer.
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen. And then it was another article where they said Stephen A. Smith didn't.
He said he didn't prove anything.
He didn't prove anything.
And honestly,
he's right. He's definitely right.
Yeah.
He proved obviously what he can do as far as running. We all know what he can do there. But you just basically in the two quarterback leagues we play in, Lamar Jackson should not be. In my mind, next year he's going to be he might be a tier 3 for me, and that's just based off 162 yards is not winning you anything in that league.
And 11 passes. That's the biggest part, because on yards to give you points for completions and bonuses for yards, Lamar Jackson's never going to get those.
Nope.
Not the way we see him now. But here's my question for you: we're talking playoff heroes and zeros. Do you have Lamar Jackson in either of those two categories, or is he somewhere in between? Are you winning your playoff? Are you winning your fantasy football championship with Lamar Jackson as your one?
The only way you're doing that if you're in a league that counts, well, that's heavy on running for quarterbacks. I think that's the only thing. But like in our leagues, for instance, that run 2 quarterbacks and you get bonuses for a certain amount of yards and for completions and all that stuff, he's not winning you a championship in that league. That 124 yards and 2 touchdowns look good.
Oh yeah.
But in all scheme of things, really is 12 points plus another 12. That's 24. That's really nothing. And then you compare
I wouldn't call that nothing, but
well, I mean, compare it to that league where you got Pat Mahomes who's doing 120 points, like that's nothing. And then he's doing 62 yards on 11 completions, so that's 11 points, another 16 points, and he threw 1 touchdown. So it's not enough. He's not even throwing for like 55 points over there. So that's not winning you anything. Baker Mayfield threw for more than that last week. So no. No, he's not.
So he's not a playoff hero. But I wouldn't call him a zero either. Like I said, depending on your league, he can potentially be a hero for you. But like I said, you got to be in the right league.
Yeah, right.
Tony has a question. So even though he's a Bama and I got to beat him this week, he asked, would you take Aaron Rodgers over Lamar Jackson in a heartbeat? That's my answer. In a heartbeat. Yeah. Don't ever doubt Mr. Discount Double Check.
Look,
get that Rodgers rate.
And look, Lamar Jackson next year in Shaq, you need to be listening to this. In a 2 quarterback league, in our league, you do not take him top 5. You don't take him top 10. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even take him on a come around because I feel like his quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, who, if you're thinking about passing, you got to think about throwing, passing yards. Justin Herbert can throw for 300 yards on any given Sunday when he's playing. Justin Herbert is better than Lamar Jackson right now in that league. Right now. Lamar Jackson finished number 21 last year in our league. Yeah.
Because like I said, Lamar Jackson is great for a league that doesn't give bonuses for extra yards. And if you don't get points for if your solid thing is on touchdowns, hey, I like some Lamar Jackson in those leagues. But if it's a league that's really quarterback driven, as in yards and completions, you can find better.
Yeah, definitely.
But hey, that's where it goes down to knowing your league, know your league rules, because then you can decide where Lamar Jackson fits in that plan. But for us, he's probably not going to be in anybody's plans.
Yeah, he's not in my plans at all. So he's a good third quarterback though. Bad week for me.
I would take him as a second quarterback, even in that league.
I'm not. I'll take my chances on somebody else first. I'm good. I'll let somebody else take it. Let a newbie like Shaq.
If I got Pat Mahomes as my number 1 quarterback and I can wrap around and get Lamar Jackson as my number 2, I'm happy with that.
I ain't mad at that.
I'm happy with that. Now, if I'm at, like you said, that turnaround spot where Lamar Jackson is going to be, in that 10, 11 on that, in that particularly, yeah, not so much.
I mean, that's like saying if you come around on that league and you got Pat Mahomes at 1 and you got Matthew Stafford sitting there or Lamar Jackson, you're going Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Just because he's better for that league.
Yeah.
In a sense. So, yeah.
Like I said, got to know your
league, got to know the rules. So, definitely.
All right. So, any other news items or?
That's all we got.
I think we got all the questions taken care of for tonight. So thanks everybody that joined in.
Appreciate y'all.
Y'all had some great questions. Hey, if you're still in the playoffs and your name isn't Tony, I wish you the most success. So
good luck, everybody.
Good luck. And then even if you get eliminated, still come back and join us. Talk some fantasy football. We can help start getting prepped for next year. So check us out. All of our social media, our webpage. Hey, hit the like, hit the subscribe. And, hey, thanks again for joining us.
Definitely. Appreciate y'all.
All right. You're not going to say we here, we ain't going nowhere? What?
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. You know how we do.
Yeah,
you know how we do. We here. We ain't going nowhere, people. R&J for life. You better believe it. I'm getting a tattoo next week. So let's go.
All right. Peace out.
All right.